When you train your mind to stay calm, you win battles no one ever sees. Train your mind like a muscle. Calm under chaos is strength. Control is not shouting back, it's staying quiet. When you easily could, you get tired of feeling stressed over things you can't control? Are you always reacting to people, situations, or small problems that shouldn't even matter? If your peace depends on how others treat you or what they say, it means they're in charge of your emotions. That's a hard truth, but it's also a wake-up call. What if you could train your mind to stay calm when everything around you feels messy or loud? What if you could stay focused when people try to distract you or bring you down? This isn't about ignoring life. It's about taking charge of your response. In this video, you'll learn how to stay in control when things get tough, how to stop giving your energy to things that don't deserve it, and how to build the kind of focus and calm that can't be shaken. If you're ready to grow, stay with this message. It's going to help you change. Now let's dive in. Number 1, build your focus by ignoring what drains energy. If you want to move forward in life, you need focus. And if you want real focus, the kind that brings results, the kind that makes people respect your work, then you have to learn to stop giving your energy to things that do not. Most people are not tired because they worked hard. They're tired because they spent the whole day thinking about things that don't deserve their attention. They're tired because they're carrying around other people's opinions, other people's problems, and things they cannot control. That kind of weight will not just slow you down. It will break your spirit. It will drain the energy that's meant for building your future. You cannot grow when you're giving your time to every distraction that shows up. You cannot stay sharp when you keep letting people interrupt your peace. Every time you stop to react to something that doesn't help you grow, you give away a piece of your strength. And when that keeps happening day after day, you begin to lose control over your own life. You start to live in reaction mode instead of creation mode. You must build a wall around your focus. Not a wall to shut out the world, but a wall to protect your energy. That energy is limited. You wake up each day with a full tank, and every interaction, every decision, every thought is taking something out of that tank. You need to spend it wisely. You need to start asking yourself one simple question every time something comes up. Is this worth my energy? Not am I right? Not do I need to fix this? Not what will they think if I ignore it? The only question is this worth my energy? There are people who spend hours scrolling through the internet, arguing with strangers, reacting to every post, feeding their mind with anger, stress, gossip. And then they wonder why they feel empty. They wonder why they can't think clearly. It's because their energy has been stolen by things that never helped them grow. You need to reclaim that energy. You must begin to notice the habits, the conversations, the environments, and even the people that leave you feeling drained. Pay attention, because some things aren't just annoying. Some things are poisonous to your mental strength. You spend time with someone, and afterward you feel tired, agitated, unsure of yourself. That's not a coincidence. That's a signal. Learn to trust that feeling. Learn to step back when something starts taking more than it gives. And when it comes to people, be honest with yourself. Some people thrive on chaos. Some people don't want peace. They want attention. They want to argue. They want to pull you into their storm, so they don't have to face their own emptiness. You have no responsibility to play that game. You don't have to answer every phone call. You don't have to reply to every message. You don't have to explain yourself every time someone misunderstands you. Silence is not weakness. It's strength. Real strength is choosing to protect your peace, even when someone else is trying to destroy it. You've got to learn the value of saying no, not just to people, but to thoughts. You need to be able to recognize when your own mind is taking you places that are not useful, worrying about things you can't control, replaying old mistakes, trying to predict what people are thinking about you. That mental noise is the enemy of focus. It takes up space in your head that should be used for ideas, goals, learning, planning. You can't afford to give your mind away to useless noise. So build a system. Take back control. Have time each day where you disconnect from the outside world. Put the phone down. Close the laptop. Sit with your own thoughts. Think clearly. Ask yourself what really matters. What do you want to build? Who do you want to become? What do you want to feel proud of in 5 years? And once you're clear on that, cut out everything that doesn't help you get there. You've got to get hungry for clarity. You've got to care more about where you're going than what's going on around you. If someone's opinion is not helping you grow, then it's not worth your attention. If a piece of news is not helping you become stronger, it's not worth your emotional investment. The more you feed distractions, the more they control you. The more you react to things that don't matter, the less you have left for the things that do. You need to build a mind that can sit still, a mind that doesn't jump at every problem, a mind that can stay calm when everything around it is loud. That's power. When you can stay centered while everyone else is losing their balance. You become the one who leads, the one who sets the tone. The one people look to when things get tough. And don't confuse being unbothered with being careless. Being unbothered means you are focused on your priorities. It means you are choosing your battles. It means you know what matters and what doesn't. You are not cold. You are not numb. You are disciplined. You are choosing peace not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. You are not here to waste time. You are not here to get dragged into every little drama. You are here to build a life you're proud of. That requires discipline. That requires you to be aware of what takes your energy and what gives you energy. That requires you to stop living in reaction to what everyone else is doing. Start small. The next time someone says something that gets under your skin, breathe. Pause. Ask yourself if responding will help you grow. If not, walk away. The next time your phone lights up with something that pulls your focus away from your goals, ignore it. Choose to stay with what matters. That's how you build the habit. Day by day, choice by choice. You teach your mind that not everything deserves your attention. There's strength in that. There's freedom in that. You stop trying to control everything and start controlling what you can. Your focus, your thoughts, your reactions. That's where your power is. That's where your peace is. When you stop giving energy to what drains you, you will feel stronger. You will think clearer. You will move with purpose. And people will notice. They'll see that you're not shaken by every little thing. They'll see that you have a direction. They'll respect your silence. They'll respect your boundaries. And more importantly, you'll respect yourself. Because you'll know that your time matters. Your energy matters. Your peace matters. You have goals to achieve. You have strength to build. You have a future to create. And to do that, you must train yourself to be unbothered by what doesn't help you grow. Not by force. Not by pretending you don't care. But by choosing not to waste your power on anything that doesn't deserve it. Keep your energy clean. Keep your focus strong. And give everything you've got to the things that truly matter. Number 2, discipline your mind. To let go of noise. Your mind is a powerful tool, but only if you learn how to manage it. Most people live every day with a mind that never slows down. It jumps from one worry to another, one distraction to another one, fear to another. That kind of mental chaos makes it hard to think clearly. To stay calm, to make strong decisions. The problem is not that you have too many thoughts. The problem is that you let too many of the wrong ones stay. Every day your brain receives a flood of information. From what people say to you, from what you see online, from your past experiences and your future worries. Most of that information is not useful. Most of it is just noise. And unless you learn how to sort through it and throw out what's unnecessary, your mind becomes a crowded place where nothing gets done and nothing feels right. You cannot build peace in a noisy mind. You cannot grow when your attention is scattered. Disciplining your mind means teaching yourself to recognize what thoughts are worth your time. It means learning to filter out the ones that create stress without solving anything. It means being intentional about what you think about, instead of letting your mind run wild. Most people think they are victims of their thoughts. They believe whatever comes into their head is just what they have to live with. That is not true. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who decides what thoughts to keep and what thoughts to let go. You must start paying attention to your internal habits. What kind of thoughts are repeating every day? Are they helping you move forward or holding you back? Are they giving you strength or creating confusion? Are they focused on what you can do or stuck on what you can't change? The only way to build a disciplined mind is to stop accepting every thought as truth. Some thoughts are just noise. They don't belong in your head. Letting go of noise is a daily decision. It starts when you wake up. Do you begin your day by checking messages and scrolling through the news? That's noise. Do you allow small annoyances to ruin your morning? That's noise. Do you replay yesterday's mistakes and feel guilt all over again? That's noise. The disciplined mind catches these patterns and interrupts them. It says, no, this is not helpful. This is not necessary. This is not how I want to start my day. The noise is not always loud. Sometimes it's quiet and subtle. It shows up as doubt when you try to do something new. It shows up as hesitation when you're about to speak your truth. It shows up as guilt when you try to rest or take time for yourself. It's that small inner voice that says you're not doing enough or you're not good enough. And the more you listen to it, the more power it gains. Discipline means you don't allow that voice to take control. You challenge it. You speak back to it with reason. You remind yourself what is real and what is just fear. Fear is often the loudest noise in the mind. It pretends to protect you, but all it really does is paralyze you. The disciplined mind learns to act even when fear is present. It learns to focus on effort instead of outcome. It learns to trust action more than worry. You must begin practicing mental separation. Just like you clean your physical space, you must clean your mental space. Remove the thoughts that bring confusion. Delete the opinions that make you feel smaller. Walk away from comparisons that leave you feeling behind. These are mental habits that keep you stuck. And like any habit, they can be broken, but only if you decide to be in charge. You don't need a perfect life to have a quiet mind. You just need the ability to focus on what you can control. You need the ability to choose your attention instead of giving it away to everything that demands it. You are not meant to carry every opinion, every update, every complaint, every mistake, every memory. That weight is too heavy for anyone. Let it go. Not by force, but by decision. You are not here to hold noise. You are here to build strength and peace and direction. Disciplining your mind is not about becoming cold or unfeeling. It's about becoming clear. It's about making space inside yourself for calm thinking and real awareness. When your mind is calm, you see things as they are, not as your emotions imagine them to be. You stop making fast decisions that create regret. You stop rushing through your days. You begin to respond instead of react. Responding is a sign of a disciplined mind. It means you don't let the outside world control your inner world. It means you take a moment to breathe and think before you speak or act. That moment of pause is where your power lives. That moment is where you decide if you will rise above or get pulled down. A disciplined mind uses that moment to check in and ask what matters right now. Many people fill their minds with thoughts of things they can't change. What if that goes wrong? What if they don't like me? What if I fail? That thinking doesn't prepare you. It just drains you. Preparation means planning and taking action. Worry is not preparation. It's noise. Let it go. Bring your thoughts back to the present. What can you do today? What step can you take now? That is the kind of thought that builds strength. You train your mind the same way you train your body. Repetition and discipline. Each time you catch a thought that doesn't serve you and replace it with one that does, you are getting stronger. Each time you stop a spiral of overthinking and return to focus, you are getting better. Each time you choose clarity over confusion, you are shaping a sharper mind. You need clarity to make progress. You need clarity to stay true to your values. You need clarity to grow in the direction you want. But clarity does not come when the mind is full of noise. It comes when the noise is removed. And it takes discipline to remove. It takes effort to build a system that filters your thoughts. It takes awareness to know what to keep and what to ignore. Start small. When your mind begins to race, slow it down. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself what you are thinking and whether it helps you. Choose one thought that gives you direction and let go of the rest. Then do it again the next time and again after that. Keep choosing discipline over distraction. This is how you take ownership of your mental life. You are not meant to be controlled by thoughts that offer no solution. You are not here to be buried under doubt and confusion. You are here to grow, to learn, to build, to lead. And to do that, you need a mind that is focused and clear. That kind of mind is not given. It is trained. It is shaped through commitment and effort. That is what it means to discipline your mind and let go of noise. Number 3, strengthen your response by staying calm under pressure. Pressure is where character is revealed. It's easy to act right when everything feels comfortable. But the real test comes when life applies weight and people expect answers and situations start to spin out of control. That's where your strength is either exposed or built. You cannot afford to fall apart when things get difficult. You must learn how to stay composed when your emotions are loud and your heart is racing. That skill is not natural. It is trained. In moments of pressure, people tend to react without thinking. They let stress take over and begin to respond with panic. That panic often causes damage that takes a long time to fix. It might come out as harsh words, rushed decisions, or actions based on fear instead of wisdom. When you're calm, you take the time to choose your response instead of letting emotions choose it for you. And that choice makes all the difference in the outcome. Staying calm is not weakness. It's control. It's knowing that losing your temper or rushing through the moment won't solve anything. Calmness gives you the space to think with clarity. It helps you process the situation without being overwhelmed by it. When you train yourself to pause instead of react, you allow logic to lead instead of emotion. That 1-second pause can change the entire direction of your life. People respect the one who stays centered when things fall apart. When others panic and you stay steady, you become the leader without saying a word. You become the person people trust because you don't add chaos to chaos. Your stability becomes a signal of strength, and that strength is not a gift. It's a choice made daily through practice. You learn to breathe when things heat up. You learn to listen before speaking. You learn to step back just long enough to respond with wisdom instead of noise. Pressure will always exist. You can't escape it, but you can train how you deal with it. That's where real growth begins. You begin to realize that external events don't have to control your internal state. Just because a situation is intense doesn't mean your mind has to. Calmness is a skill you earn by choosing to stay in control of yourself when the world demands you lose it. Many people think they need to raise their voice to be heard under stress. But often, the quietest person in the room holds the most power. They're not wasting energy on panic. They're not acting out of impulse. They're gathering their strength by staying grounded. That's what makes their presence strong. The ones who stay calm can see further. They can see past the panic and into the solution. That's why calm people win more often. Not because life is easier for them, but because they train to handle it better. Training to stay calm starts with understanding yourself. You need to know what triggers your frustration, what causes you to lose focus, what makes you want to explode or give up. Once you recognize those moments, you gain a new level of awareness. And with awareness comes the ability to intervene. You stop letting those triggers control your behavior. You begin to step in before the reaction takes over. This practice demands that you observe your body and your mind under pressure. What happens to your breathing when things go wrong? What happens to your thoughts? Do they race or freeze? Do you feel heat in your chest or tension in your shoulders? That physical awareness gives you the chance to reset. Even something as simple as steady breathing can change your emotional state. In pressure, the body reacts first, but the disciplined person knows how to pause and calm the body so the mind can function. You need to practice this calmness in daily life, not just during major problems. Start small. When you're stuck in traffic, when someone cuts in line, when you receive unexpected criticism. These moments are chances to rehearse. Instead of reacting fast, breathe slow. Instead of raising your voice, keep it low. Each time you practice, you become better at it. And when bigger pressures come, your response will already be trained. Another part of staying calm is not taking things personally. Under pressure, people say things they don't mean. They project their stress. If you let their words hit you deeply, you will lose your balance. But when you learn to separate their behavior from your value, you protect your peace. You don't need to take offense. You need to protect your mind. Calmness is the ability to say, "This is not about me. I don't need to carry their emotion." You also need to set boundaries to maintain your calm. When you're under constant pressure, you must limit distractions and protect your time. You can't allow everyone access to your attention. You must create space for rest and recovery. A calm response requires energy, and you can't have that energy if you're always overstimulated. Make time for quiet. Make space to reflect. Remove unnecessary noise from your environment. When life speeds up, you need to slow down inside. That's the opposite of what most people do. They move faster, hoping to catch up with the pressure. But that speed often leads to poor decisions. The calm person knows that slow thinking is strong thinking. They take time to consider the facts. They don't let urgency create panic. That doesn't mean they're lazy or passive. It means they act from strength, not fear. Calmness also improves communication. When you're calm, your words carry more weight. People listen to you because you're not adding fuel to the fire. You're offering clarity. You're offering direction. When you speak calmly in a stressful situation, you create a sense of safety. You help others settle down. That's leadership. And that's a skill worth building every single day. When you're under pressure, remind yourself that this moment will pass. Don't give it more power than it deserves. Take control of your breath. Take control of your posture. Speak only when you know what you're trying to say. If you don't have a helpful response yet, wait. Silence can be wiser than rushed words. Calmness gives you the ability to preserve your energy and use it when it really matters. You will be tested in life. People will disappoint you. Circumstances will challenge your patience. Plans will break. Deadlines will press against you. And through all that, you can still choose to hold steady. You can train your nervous system to remain grounded. That's not about pretending everything is fine. It's about choosing how you carry yourself through difficulty. That choice makes you resilient. Staying calm does not mean ignoring problems. It means facing them with strength instead of panic. It means not making the situation worse with fear-based decisions. It means knowing that panic clouds vision and calmness brings it back. It means choosing presence instead of chaos, Pressure reveals who is prepared and who is reactive. Be the one who is ready. Be the one who rises above the noise. Train yourself every day to carry peace, even when the room is full of tension. Carry clarity even when people bring confusion. Carry patience, even when life feels urgent. Calmness is the quiet power that builds trust, protects energy, and leads the way through any storm. Number 4. Train your attention to stay on your own path. There is a reason most people don't get very far. It's not because they don't have goals. It's not because they don't work hard. It's because they keep getting distracted by things that have nothing to do with their journey. They watch others too closely. They compare timelines. They let the noise outside pull their attention away from what matters inside. That's why it's critical to train your attention. You must choose where your mind goes. You must protect your focus from being pulled in every direction. Staying on your own path means you decide what matters to you. You decide what success looks like for your life. You're not swayed by what someone else is doing or what someone else has achieved. You understand that every person is on their own timeline. Their progress does not control yours. Their speed does not affect your direction. When you know who you are and what you want, you don't waste energy looking sideways. You must learn to stop chasing everything. Not every opportunity is meant for you. Not every invitation is worth your time. If you're always adjusting your pace to match someone else's, you'll lose the rhythm of your own progress. You have to be willing to slow down if needed. You have to be willing to work in silence without asking for validation. You're not here to win a popularity contest. You're here to build a life with meaning. When you train your attention, you take control of your thoughts. You stop letting the outside world choose your focus. You begin to notice when your mind drifts. You catch yourself when you start scrolling aimlessly or comparing endlessly, and then you bring yourself back. You remind yourself of the goals you set. You remind yourself of why you started. That mental discipline, bringing your attention back over and over, is what builds real progress. Every day you wake up with a limited amount of mental energy. You can spend it chasing every trend, or you can invest it in building the life you've committed to. You cannot do both. You cannot stay true to your goals while constantly switching paths. Growth requires direction. You must choose that direction and stay on it even when it's not exciting, even when it feels slow, even when others seem to be moving faster. The people who achieve something meaningful are not the ones who try everything. They are the ones who master consistency. They repeat the right actions over time. They show up even when nobody's watching. They keep their eyes on the path they've chosen. They don't let envy or noise shake them off track. That kind of focus is rare, but it's what leads to results that last. You also need to accept that your path will not always be understood. People may question your decision. They may not see the vision you see. That's not your job to fix. Your job is to stay committed to your mission. If you change your direction every time someone doubts you, you'll never build anything real. You need to get comfortable walking alone sometime. You need to stay rooted in your values, even when others don't understand them. You'll see people getting attention. You'll see people getting ahead with shortcuts. But just because something works for them doesn't mean it belongs to you. What matters more is whether your actions align with your principles, whether the life you're building feels honest to who you are. Staying on your path requires patience, and patience is hard, especially in a world where everything moves fast. But slow progress is not failure. It's often the only kind that lasts. You also have to manage your environment. What you consume affects your attention. If your feed is filled with distractions, your mind will follow them. If you surround yourself with people who are always chasing the next big thing, you'll start doing the same. You need to set boundaries. Unfollow what makes you question your worth. Limit what makes you doubt your journey. Choose to fill your space with reminders of your values, not someone else's success. It's easy to fall into comparison, but comparison steals focus. It makes you doubt your pace. It makes you feel like you're behind when you're not. Everyone's path looks different because everyone's purpose is different. You don't have to achieve what someone else has. You have to do what is right for you. And the only way to find that is by keeping your attention close to your own work. When you focus on your path, you begin to see progress you used to miss. You start noticing how far you've come. You start seeing small wins. You gain confidence because your energy is no longer scattered. You're building something consistent, and that consistency builds belief. The more you believe in what you're doing, the less you need approval. You stop asking for permission. You stop looking for signs. You simply keep going because you trust the process. Your attention is your most valuable tool. Where it goes, your life follows. If you give it to distractions, your growth will stop. If you give it to your purpose, your life will move forward. That's not a one-time decision. That's a daily discipline. Every time you sit down to work, ask yourself, is my mind where it needs to be? Every time you feel discouraged, ask yourself, am I looking too much at others? Bring your attention back, again and again. That's how progress is made. You don't need more motivation. You need more focus. You don't need to know every new trend. You need to stay committed to what you started. The more you train your mind to stay on task, the easier it becomes. The distractions don't go away, but your ability to ignore them gets stronger. And that strength keeps you moving forward, even when it's tempting to stop. One of the most powerful things you can do is choose not to react to everything. Not every comment deserves your attention. Not every opinion matters. Not every update is worth your time. Your focus is too important to waste. Train yourself to be selective. Train yourself to protect your mental space. When your attention stays centered, your progress becomes unstoppable. Success is not built on big moves. It's built on consistent attention to the right things. Stay close to your mission. Stay loyal to your path. Keep your eyes forward, your energy steady, and your discipline strong. Everything else will take care of itself in time. Number 5. Practice stillness when others expect your reaction. In a world that moves quickly and speaks loudly, choosing to stay still can be one of the most powerful decisions you ever make. Most people are wired to react. When they're pushed, they push back. When they're insulted, they defend. When they feel challenged, they jump to respond. But that kind of reaction is automatic. It doesn't come from strength. It comes from habit. And the problem with reacting out of habit is that you lose control. You let other people decide how you feel. You give away your peace. Stillness is not weakness. It's a form of strength that few develop. It means choosing to pause instead of panic. It means allowing silence to lead instead of noise. Stillness gives you room to think clearly. It creates space between what happens and what you choose to do next. When you practice stillness, you're not ignoring the moment. You're mastering it. You're telling yourself, I don't need to rush into this. I don't need to say the first thing that comes to mind. I have the right to hold my ground without raising my voice. Most people are uncomfortable with silence. They expect reactions. They want an argument. They look for drama. But when you stop playing that game, they lose their grip. You no longer give them what they expect. You break the cycle of emotional chaos. And that's how you protect your energy. You keep your center in a world that's always spinning. Training yourself to stay still doesn't mean you don't feel emotion. It means you've learned not to let emotion lead. You don't bury your feelings. You simply don't let them control your response. There's a time to speak and a time to wait. Knowing the difference is maturity. The more you practice stillness, the more you build that maturity. You become the kind of person who doesn't need to prove anything. You don't over-explain. You don't jump into every argument. You know your worth. You know your priorities. That clarity allows you to move through chaos with peace. Stillness also teaches you how to listen better. When you're not rushing to speak, You hear more. You notice what people really mean. You catch the tone behind their words. You understand their intention, not just their statement. And that understanding gives you an advantage. It lets you respond with wisdom instead of impulse. It puts you in control of your time, your energy, and your reactions. Some of the strongest decisions you'll ever make will come after silence, because silence gives you room to weigh the cost of your next move. A quick reaction might feel good in the moment, but it can create problems that last far longer. Stillness keeps you out of trouble. It keeps you from saying something you'll regret. It gives you time to process your thoughts before turning them into action. In moments of conflict, people will push your buttons. They'll say things to provoke you. They want to see if they can shake your calm. But when you stay still, they lose their power. They realize you're not easy to disturb. That quiet confidence is rare, and it's powerful. It tells the world you're grounded. You're not controlled by the moods of others. You're steady, even when the environment is unstable. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. You don't need to react to every piece of criticism. You don't owe anyone your energy just because they demand it. Stillness is how you protect what matters. It's how you stay connected to your values when things get noisy. And yes, people may misread your silence. They may see it as weakness or avoidance, but your goal is not to be understood by everyone. Your goal is to live with intention, and that requires discipline. You need to be deliberate about when and how you respond. Not everything deserves your words. Not every moment needs a comment. Some things are better left alone. When you train yourself to pause, you begin to realize how much noise is unnecessary. How many arguments are based on ego? How many reactions come from insecurity? Stillness helps you rise above all that. It keeps you focused on what matters most. Practicing stillness is not about becoming cold or distant. It's about becoming wise. It's about knowing that energy is precious and shouldn't be spent on things that don't move your life forward. When others try to bait you into reacting, stay grounded, stay focused. Choose to respond from a place of strength, not fear. Choose silence when silence serves you better than noise. When you develop stillness, you start to notice your own triggers. You begin to see patterns in how you usually respond. Maybe someone's tone always gets under your skin. Maybe a certain comment always sets you off. Stillness gives you the space to notice that. It gives you the power to change your pattern. Instead of reacting the way you always have, you respond the way you've trained yourself to. That's real growth. That's real power. You are not owned by your emotions. You are not a slave to your surroundings. You are in charge. And it shows every time you choose stillness over noise. Every time you pause instead of panic. Every time you hold your peace, when it would be easy to lose it. We live in a culture that rewards loudness. But loud doesn't always mean strong. Strong is the person who knows when to speak and when to be quiet. Strong is the person who doesn't get dragged into every battle. Strong is the one who can hold their emotions without letting them take over. Stillness is how you build that strength. You don't have to match the energy of the room. If the room is tense, you can remain calm. If others are angry, you can stay centered. If someone tries to bring you into their storm, you can stand your ground. Stillness is not passive. It's powerful. It's you choosing the higher road. It's you living with self-control, with clarity, with intention. The more you practice it, the more natural it becomes. You don't get rattled so easily. You stop needing to defend yourself at every turn. You stop giving away your power with every reaction. You start choosing what deserves your attention. You start becoming more thoughtful with your responses. And that thoughtfulness makes you more effective in every area of life. You can lead without shouting. You can stand firm without arguing. You can show strength without speaking. That's what stillness gives you. It makes your presence felt without forcing it. It makes your decisions stronger because they're not rushed. It helps you live with fewer regrets because you're not acting from emotion. but from wisdom. Keep practicing stillness. Keep choosing calm. Keep standing your ground without needing to prove anything. That kind of power is quiet, but it changes everything. Number 6, choose silence instead of reacting to every comment. You are not required to answer everything that's said about you. Just because someone speaks doesn't mean you need to respond. You have the right to protect your peace, and sometimes the best way to do that is with silence. Not every comment deserves your time. Not every opinion needs your attention. Learning to choose silence is a sign of emotional control, not a lack of courage. It shows maturity. It shows you've grown past the need to fight for validation. People will always have something to say. Sometimes it will be praise. Other times it will be criticism. And often it will be noise. Unnecessary words thrown at you just to pull a reaction. When you've trained yourself to be steady, you understand this. Responding to everything makes you a prisoner to everyone's opinions. You hand them your energy. You allow them to control your mood. But when you choose silence, you take that power back. You stay in control of your time and your emotions. You don't have to react to disrespect to prove your strength. Ignoring someone doesn't mean they've won. It means you've decided they're not worth your words. There's strength in restraint. You keep your energy clean. You keep your direction clear. You don't get lost in someone else's mess. Choosing silence is not about weakness. It's about clarity. It's about asking yourself, will this response improve my life? If the answer is no, then silence is your answer. Every time you choose to respond to a pointless comment, you stop what you're doing. You pause your progress. You give that moment a piece of your focus. One distraction may not feel like much, but they add up. Over time, constant reacting drains your discipline. It keeps you emotionally unstable. But when you choose silence, you build a strong internal system. You stay focused on your goals. You stop rewarding people who try to waste your time. Silence helps you move forward without interference. When you stop giving everyone access to your reactions, they start to realize you're not easily moved. You're not affected by every opinion. You don't need to defend yourself every time someone speaks. You've built a mind that chooses peace over noise. You understand that just because something was said doesn't mean it matters. Not every voice around you is worth listening to. Some people comment just to test you. They want to see if they can control your emotion. They say things to throw you off, to distract you from your focus. But the moment you stop reacting, they lose that control. They're left with their words and your silence. And that silence is louder than any reply. It tells them you're not moved. You're not playing their game. You do not need to explain your life to everyone. The more you chase approval, the more you lose direction. Choosing silence is how you protect what you're building. You stay on track. You decide what gets your energy and what doesn't. You live by your values, not by people's comments. You keep your peace, and in that peace, you grow stronger. There's a certain dignity that comes with silence. It tells others you value your self-respect. You don't argue with people who have nothing to lose. You don't entertain conversations that lead nowhere. You choose your battles. You pick your moments. You use your voice when it matters, not when someone else demands it. Every time you stay silent instead of reacting, you're teaching your mind patience. You're showing yourself that emotions don't have to run your life. You're building the habit of thinking before speaking. That habit will serve you everywhere. At work, in relationships, in difficult situations. It makes you more thoughtful. It makes you more respected. People begin to trust that when you do speak, it means something. You can be strong and quiet at the same time. Strength doesn't always raise its voice. Strength doesn't always reply. Sometimes it just walks away. It focuses on the bigger picture. It asks, will this comment matter 5 years from now? If the answer is no, it doesn't get a reaction today. Silence gives you room to think, to stay grounded, to move with intention. Every comment is not an attack. Some are just noise. Some are misunderstandings. Some are people projecting their own problems. You don't have to carry their issues. You don't have to answer to their confusion. Silence lets you stay on your path. It keeps you from getting pulled into other people's storms. You're allowed to protect your mental space. You're allowed to stay quiet when the room is loud. You're allowed to not answer when you feel disrespected. That silence isn't giving up. It's choosing what matters most. And what matters is your peace, your focus, your long-term growth. When you begin to build this habit, it will feel strange. You'll be tempted to defend yourself. You'll want to set the record straight, but you must remember your purpose. You're not here to convince people. You're here to improve your life. You're here to grow. You're here to become disciplined, focused, and strong. And that journey requires letting go of petty battles. It requires ignoring the noise. Over time, silence becomes your protection. It shields you from unnecessary conflict. It saves your energy for what's truly important. It teaches others how to treat you. When you stop responding to chaos, you stop inviting it. You create an environment of peace around you. People begin to respect your presence because they see you don't waste your voice. They know that when you do speak, you speak with intention. You don't need to have the last word. You don't need to be understood by everyone. You don't need to answer every insult or opinion. You need to be focused. You need to be steady. You need to stay true to your own values, even when others try to test you. Choosing silence is choosing maturity. It's deciding that your energy is too valuable to be spent on every distraction. It's understanding that a peaceful mind gets more done. It's realizing that your worth is not determined by other people's words. You already know who you are. You don't need to explain it every time someone questions it. As you grow, your silence will become your strength. You'll notice you're not easily shaken. You'll notice you don't care about the noise the way you used to. You'll feel lighter. You'll think clearer. You'll act with more intention. And people will notice. They'll wonder why you're so calm, why you're so focused, why nothing seems to break your stride. It's because you've chosen not to fight every battle. You've chosen not to react to every word. You've chosen silence, and in that silence, you've found power. You've found freedom. You've found control. And once you've built that, no comment can take it from you. Number 7, control your mood by mastering your inner dialogue. The way you speak to yourself is one of the most powerful tools you have. It's not what happens around you that shapes your mood. It's what you say to yourself about what's happening. That inner conversation, the one no one hears but you, is what determines how you feel, how you act, and how far you go. If that voice is always negative, critical, or filled with fear, it becomes almost impossible to stay calm or strong. But if that voice is trained, honest, steady, and supportive, you gain the ability to stay centered no matter what's going on around you. You don't wake up confident by accident. You don't walk into the day with clarity and focus without preparing your mind. The thoughts that shape your mood are created by habit. They're formed by repetition. And most people never stop to question the voice in their head. They accept whatever thoughts come through and assume those thoughts are true. That's a mistake. You need to treat your inner dialogue like a tool. You sharpen it. You manage it. You become aware of it. And you take responsibility for it. If your inner dialogue is full of doubt, fear, and frustration, you will feel overwhelmed before anything even happens. But if you begin your day with deliberate, clear thoughts, you build the kind of mental foundation that allows you to stay balanced. Every single person has doubts, but not every person listens to them. Every single person feels fear, but the ones who grow are the ones who keep moving anyway. And that begins with the words they tell themselves. You must learn how to talk to yourself in a way that pushes you forward instead of holding you back. When things go wrong, the first thing you need to do is control what you're saying to yourself about it. Don't allow your mind to exaggerate, to assume the worst, or to blame yourself unfairly. Speak with reason. Speak with calm. Speak with direction. Ask yourself, what can I control right now? That question brings clarity. That question brings action. That question changes your mood because it gives your mind something to focus on. You are going to face stress. You're going to face pressure. You're going to have moments where emotions rise. And if you've never taken control of the way you talk to yourself, those emotions will run your day. You'll react. You'll lose your patience. You'll say things you don't mean. But if you've built the habit of managing your inner voice, you'll be able to slow yourself down. You'll be able to direct your mood instead of being ruled by it. Start noticing the language you use in your head. Pay attention to the words. Are you being harsh on yourself? Are you putting yourself down before anyone else gets the chance? Are you convincing yourself that you're stuck, or incapable, or unlucky? If you are, change that. That voice is not truth. It's habit. And like any habit, it can be replaced with something stronger. When you make a mistake, don't tear yourself apart. Correct yourself with clarity and move on. When something takes longer than expected, don't call yourself lazy or behind. Speak to yourself with purpose. I'm learning. I'm improving. I'll keep going. These kinds of words are not soft. They're not weak. They are tools. They are strategies. They are mental systems designed to keep your emotions from taking over your progress. Your mind is listening to every word you say. Every time you repeat something, your mind starts to believe it. So make sure what you're saying builds you. Make sure it helps you reset when something hard hits. Make sure it reminds you of what you can do, not what you fear. Train yourself to hear your thoughts without reacting to them right away. Just because your mind says something doesn't mean it's right. You don't need to accept the first thought that shows up. Learn to pause. Learn to think again. Learn to replace automatic negative reactions with deliberate and useful thoughts. That skill alone can save your energy, your relationships, and your long-term goals. Sometimes your mood will drop without warning. That's normal. But what you do in that moment matters. You can spiral into more frustration. Or you can say, this feeling will pass. I'm going to keep moving anyway. That small shift in language can change your entire day. It gives you distance from the emotion. It gives you power. You stop being a passenger in your own life and start being the driver. This doesn't mean you lie to yourself. It doesn't mean you pretend everything is perfect. It means you talk to yourself like someone you respect. It means you tell yourself the truth in a way that helps you get better, not bitter. You don't have to be harsh to be honest. You don't have to be critical to improve. You need to be clear. You need to be intentional. You need to be focused on what helps you grow instead of what drags you down. Managing your mood starts with understanding that emotions don't arrive alone. They're shaped by your thoughts. If you want to stay calm, you need to manage those thoughts. You need to know what to say when things go wrong. You need to have language ready that helps you recover. Most people don't prepare for this. They react. They wait for motivation. They wait for the perfect moment. And while they wait, their mood controls them. But you can do better than that. You can decide to lead your mind. You can decide to lead your emotion. Your mood is a product of your standards. If you set the standard that you will not speak to yourself like a failure, then even on hard days, you will protect your strength. If you set the standard that your voice must be useful, not destructive, then even when life gets difficult, you will have a place in your mind that keeps you steady. This takes practice. You don't change your inner dialogue overnight. You change it, one thought at a time. You replace one negative habit with one better choice. And slowly, you begin to notice that your mind isn't as chaotic. Your emotions don't swing as wide. You feel more grounded. You start each day with clearer thoughts. You face challenges without falling apart. You move through conversations without losing control. And that's because you've trained your mind to serve you, not stop you. Control your mood by first mastering your inner language. Speak words that bring calm. Build sentences that hold you up. Use your thoughts as tools for progress, not as weapons against yourself. Every strong mindset begins with a strong internal voice. Not a loud one, not a fake one, but a steady, focused, clear voice that helps you stay aligned with your values. Make it a priority to check in with your inner world. If it's full of conflict, your actions will reflect it. But if it's built on clarity, focus, and purpose, your actions will be sharp. Your decisions will be better. Your reactions will be slower. Your progress will be more consistent. That's how you build control. That's how you protect your focus. That's how you lead your own mind. Number 8. Hold your peace when others want your anger. There are moments in life when people try to pull you into their chaos. They want you upset. They want you off balance. They speak in ways designed to provoke you, to test your limits, to see if they can steal your strength. That's when you must rise above. That's when you must hold your peace. Not because you are weak, but because you are strong enough not to react. The real power is not in how loud you can be, it's in how calm you can remain when everything around you pushes for a reaction. You have to understand something very clearly. When someone is trying to provoke you, they are looking for control. They want to control the situation. They want to control your mood. They want to decide what kind of energy fills the room. If you give them your reaction, you give them exactly what they came for. But if you choose to stay calm, if you decide not to participate in the emotional chaos, you protect your peace. You maintain your power. You stay in control of yourself. There is nothing more frustrating to someone who wants your anger than your refusal to give it. When they push and push, and you don't give in, you prove something very few people ever learn. You are the one in charge of your emotions. Not them. Not the moment. Not the tension. Anger might feel like strength in the moment, but it almost always leaves behind regret. It clouds your thinking. It causes you to say things you never meant. It pulls you out of your values. And the truth is, people rarely remember your anger with respect. They remember it with judgment. But peace is different. Peace demands discipline. Peace requires thought. Peace doesn't come from hiding your feelings. It comes from deciding which feelings are worth expressing, and which ones only drain your energy. You must train yourself to pause. That pause is the gap between what happens and what you do. And in that space is your power. It's where you get to decide the kind of person you are. Will you be someone who reacts without thinking? Or will you be someone who stays aligned with your values even when it's hard? Every time you hold your peace, you build strength. Every time you choose patience over anger, you become more in control of your world. It doesn't mean you let people walk over you. It means you decide when and how to speak. Not based on pressure, but based on principle. You don't let others write your script. You write it yourself, with intention and clarity. People will test your boundaries. They will try to pull you into their negativity. You may be misunderstood. You may be insulted. You may feel attacked. But your greatest response is not in matching their tone. It's in refusing to let them lower your standards. That's where you prove your discipline. That's where you show your maturity. Peace is not a lack of emotion. Peace is emotional control. It's the ability to feel fully, but still choose wisely. And this takes practice. It takes reflection. You have to study your own patterns. You have to ask yourself, why does this comment get to me? Why do I feel the need to respond like that? And when you ask those questions honestly, you begin to see where your work lies. You begin to separate your triggers from your Sometimes, holding your peace means walking away. Sometimes, it means saying less. Sometimes, it means choosing not to argue when you know the outcome won't change. And sometimes, it means speaking, but only after you've thought clearly. You don't owe anyone your reaction. What you owe yourself is your growth. And growth means not being pulled into emotional traps that cost you your dignity. In situations where tempers rise, where voices get loud, and where disrespect shows up, you need a clear plan. You need to know ahead of time how you want to act, not just how you feel. If you wait until the pressure is high, you will act on impulse. But if you train your responses in calm moments, you will know how to move in the tough ones. Prepare your mind to stay centered. Prepare your words to stay thoughtful. Prepare your energy to stay steady. The most powerful people are not the loudest. They are the ones who walk through fire without raising their voice. They speak clearly. They stand tall. And they respond only when it serves their purpose, not their ego. Their peace is a choice they protect, not something they hope for. You don't have to prove anything to anyone in the heat of an argument. You don't need to match anyone's disrespect. Your value doesn't rise or fall based on someone else's bad behavior. But if you forget that, you will find yourself wasting energy on people who are not worth your time. You must learn to hold your energy for the things that matter. When someone tries to trigger you, understand their goal. They want to shift your focus. They want to move your attention off your growth and onto their drama. Don't let them. If you engage every time someone tries to bother you, you will be exhausted. But if you save your energy for things that move your life forward, you will feel stronger, calmer, more focused. Peace isn't found by chance. It's earned by self-awareness. You need to study how you respond under stress. You need to know what pulls you off balance. And then you need to work on those spots. That's how you get better. That's how you hold your peace, even in the most difficult situation. You have to build yourself from the inside. This is not easy. It requires you to be intentional every single day. But the reward is freedom. Freedom from being controlled by others. Freedom from emotional exhaustion. Freedom from regret. You get to walk away from situations without carrying the weight of reactions you wish you could take back. People will say what they want. They will act how they choose. But your response is always your responsibility. Make that response strong. Make it steady. Make it thoughtful. Because that's the kind of person who gets through life with focus and clarity. That's the kind of person who moves forward, no matter the noise around them. That's the kind of person who keeps their peace even when the world is trying to take it away. Number 9. Protect your time by walking away from drama. Time is one of the few things in life you can never get back. Once it's spent, it's gone forever. And what most people don't realize is how much of their time gets drained by things that add no value to their life. One of the biggest thieves of time is drama. Other people's emotional mess, arguments that go nowhere, conflicts that were never yours to begin with. And if you're not careful, you'll get pulled into it without even realizing it. That's why you have to train yourself to walk away from it, not to escape responsibility, but to guard what matters most: your peace, your energy, and your progress. When someone brings drama to you, what they're really doing is asking you to give your time to something that won't help you grow. They want you involved in things that spin in circles. They want your attention, not for clarity, but for conflict. And every minute you give them is a minute you could have spent building something real. You don't need to attend every disagreement you're invited to. You don't have to explain yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. When you sense chaos, distance is wisdom. People who love drama will often present it as urgency. They will act like you must react right now. They will use guilt, pressure, or emotional tricks to draw you in. But that's not your burden to carry. You must decide what your time is worth. You must make that decision long before the moment shows up. Because if you wait until you're already involved, it gets harder to leave. If you make your values clear ahead of time, it becomes easier to say no to what doesn't align. Drama is not just loud arguments or heated debates. Sometimes it's subtle. It's gossip. It's negativity. It's people who constantly pull you into their problems, but never want solution. It's those who complain every day, but do nothing to change. And when you keep yourself around that long enough, you start to absorb it. It seeps into your focus. It drains your mental clarity. You wake up tired, Not because you worked hard, but because you wasted energy where it didn't belong. Walking away from drama isn't about being cold. It's about being clear. You don't owe anyone your time just because they demand it. You owe it to yourself to use your hours and days wisely. Life is too short to spend it explaining things to people who only want to argue. It's too short to keep showing up in places where your presence makes no positive difference. There is strength in removing yourself from conversations that go nowhere. You must learn to spot the signs early. When someone keeps bringing you stories filled with negativity, take note. When a person always has a new conflict but never a resolution, that's a sign. When you leave a conversation feeling mentally heavy, emotionally off, or frustrated, you need to ask yourself if that connection is helping or hurting. Pay attention to how people make you feel. Your time is precious, and anyone who doesn't respect that doesn't deserve to control any part of it. When you walk away from drama, you create space for growth. You free your schedule for things that matter. You give your mind room to breathe. You make yourself available for real progress. And over time, you build a life that feels lighter, more focused, and more aligned with what you truly want. You start to realize that drama isn't just a waste of time. It's a distraction from your purpose. It takes discipline to step away. There will be moments when everything in you wants to respond, to defend yourself, to prove your point. But those are the moments you must ask, is this helping me grow? Or is this just noise? Your silence is not weakness. Your distance is not avoidance. Your calm refusal to engage is strength in motion. It's how you choose peace over chaos. The more you protect your time, the more you realize how valuable it really is. Every day you say no to drama. You say yes to focus. Every time you walk away from chaos, you move closer to clarity. And when you live with that kind of intention, your entire world changes. You begin to attract better conversations. You start surrounding yourself with people who value solutions, not problems. And most importantly, you start honoring your own journey. There will always be people who thrive on conflict. They want to talk about what someone said, what someone did, who is upset with who, and why it matters so much. But you must rise above that. Your job is not to manage everyone else's emotions. Your responsibility is not to keep peace between people who have no interest in growing. Your mission is to build a strong, focused, and fulfilling life. And that means walking away from anything that tries to pull you off course. You don't need to make a scene when you walk away. You don't need to explain yourself. You simply need to be clear with yourself about what your time is worth. Some situations require your presence. Some don't. The difference is in whether they feed your progress or drain your energy. And once you learn that, you won't be so quick to enter conversations that go nowhere. Your future depends on how well you protect your present. If you keep getting caught in drama today, you'll keep missing opportunities tomorrow. Every choice to walk away is a choice to move forward, and moving forward is what your life is meant for. You weren't made to be stuck in cycles of negativity. You weren't born to be an emotional referee for people who refuse to change. You were meant for growth, purpose, and peace. This doesn't mean your life will be free from all conflict. It means you will know what kind of conflict is worth your time. You'll be able to tell when something needs to be addressed and when it just needs to be ignored. You'll learn to pause before reacting. You'll give yourself permission to leave conversations unfinished, and you'll feel more empowered every time you do it. What matters most is that you stay loyal to your values. If drama isn't part of the life you want, then don't let it be part of the life you live. It's your time. Protect it like something valuable, because it is. Every moment counts. Don't waste it trying to fix what others keep breaking. Don't spend it trying to prove your worth to people who never appreciate it. Use it to grow. Use it to build. Use it to become the kind of person who values peace over performance. That's where your strength is. That's where your freedom begins. Number 10. Stand your ground without needing to explain anything. One of the strongest things you can do as a person is hold firm to your decisions without looking for permission or approval. Most people live in a constant loop of trying to justify every choice they make. They want others to understand why they said no. They want others to accept their boundaries. But the truth is, you don't need to explain anything to people who aren't living your life. Your growth, your peace, your focus, none of those things require outside validation. When you learn to stand your ground, you stop asking others to make you feel okay about doing what's right for you. That's when you truly begin to take control of your life. You stop bending under pressure. You stop apologizing for your priorities. You stop watering down your truth to make others comfortable. You recognize that standing firm doesn't make you difficult. It makes you self-respecting. There's a quiet power in holding your position and letting it speak for itself. It doesn't mean you're rude. It doesn't mean you're cold. It means you've decided what matters. And you're not willing to shrink for anyone. When you choose to honor your values, when you follow through on your decisions without defending them to everyone around you, that's maturity. That's clarity. That's strength. People will test your boundaries. Some will try to guilt you into changing your mind. Others will question your motives. A few may even try to twist your words. But that's not your problem to solve. You are not responsible for managing how others feel about your clarity. You are not required to convince anyone to accept your truth. You don't need to explain why your peace matters more than their approval. A lot of unnecessary conflict comes from over-explaining. The more you try to justify your position, the more opportunity you give someone to debate you. And once you enter that debate, you start losing control. You're no longer choosing your path. You're reacting to someone else's opinion of it. That's not strength. That's surrender. And if you keep surrendering to everyone else's expectations, you'll never live the life you were meant to live. Standing your ground isn't about creating distance from people. It's about building a closer connection to yourself. It's about developing the courage to say, this is what's right for me, even if no one claps for it. You don't need a round of applause. You don't need agreement. You need inner stability. You need the kind of self-trust that says, I don't need to be understood to be certain. There will be people who get upset when you stop explaining yourself. That's because your silence challenges their control. When you no longer give reasons, they lose their grip on your choices. That makes some people uncomfortable, especially those who used to sway your decisions. But that discomfort belongs to them, not you. Your job isn't to make them feel better. Your job is to live true to what matters to you. You can decline an invite without giving a reason. You can walk away from a conversation without explaining why. You can change your mind about something without going into detail. That's not being difficult. That's practicing ownership. Your time, your space, your priorities, they are not public property. You are allowed to set limits. You are allowed to protect your energy. You are allowed to choose what's right for your life without handing out a full report. Most people spend their energy trying to be liked. But when you shift your focus to being respected, everything changes. You start showing up differently. You stop chasing approval. You start commanding your space with quiet confidence. And you realize that the people who truly care about you don't need long explanations. They trust your judgment. They support your decisions. They don't take it personally when you say no. They understand that real respect allows room for independence. Sometimes you'll make choices that others don't understand. That's okay. They don't need to understand it. They just need to respect it. And if they can't do that, they're showing you something important about the relationship. You get to decide what kind of people you surround yourself with. If you have to keep explaining your boundaries to someone over and over again, that's not a lack of communication. That's a lack of respect. The more you stand your ground, the more peaceful your life becomes. You no longer waste time trying to be everything for everyone. You stop overcommitting. You stop saying yes out of guilt. You stop stretching yourself to meet every demand. You begin to live from a place of clarity. A place where your decisions are based on values, not pressure. That's when you become truly free. You don't need to defend your schedule. You don't need to justify your growth. You don't need to seek approval for the way you protect your peace. You simply need to know what matters to you and act accordingly. That's how you build integrity. That's how you create stability. That's how you live without regret. Standing your ground also means knowing what to ignore. Not every comment needs your reply. Not every criticism deserves your attention. When you choose silence over reaction, you show strength. When you choose direction over distraction, you show discipline. And when you choose your values over popularity, you show character. You weren't made to shrink yourself to fit into other people's expectations. You weren't born to explain your life to those who refuse to listen. You were built to lead yourself with honesty and courage. That's what standing your ground is about. It's not loud, it's not aggressive. It's calm, clear, and consistent. And the more you practice it, the more you realize how much power you've always had. You can be kind and firm at the same time. You can be thoughtful and unmoved. You can care about others without sacrificing your own clarity. It takes practice to reach that place. It takes self-awareness. But once you arrive there, life becomes simpler. You spend less time in confusion. You experience less emotional chaos. You feel stronger within yourself. The goal is not to win arguments. The goal is to not enter them in the first place. The goal is not to prove people wrong. The goal is to stay true to what's right for you. That means walking away from things that pull you off center. That means remaining calm in the face of pressure. That means knowing when to say nothing and when to stand firm in what you've chosen. That's real strength. That's how you build a life that's grounded, focused, and free.